Have you ever built an AI application that worked perfectly on a local machine, but had no idea about how to deploy it so it can run reliable in the cloud? If so, this video is for you. In this tutorial, you will learn a development workflow that you can use for many AI applications, not just one specific project. So we are going to cover how to package an AI application with Docker, automate deployment with GitHub Actions, and run it on a powerful GPU using RunPod. To make everything practical, we will use Fist Fusion as our example project. By the end of this video, you will understand the complete deployment process and be able to apply the same workflow to so many other AI applications with little or no modification. If you have been searching for a simple practical way to deploy AI application instead of just running them locally, stay with me, let us get it started. So welcome back everybody into today's tutorial. So without wasting much of our time, let us get into it. But before we do that, I would like to share something with us. So I would like to explain how the workflow goes, like the ways how you are going to be deploying it, the stages you are going to be doing it, right? And I will let you to understand the workflow. So let me this is so the, if you this is my Visual Studio Code, and if you look at this left main here, so this is the AI application I want to deploy, right? So this is the AI application I want to deploy. Don't be confused, right? You can apply the same strategy to any other of your AI application projects, right? So this is it here. Don't be scared about maybe there are a lot of things here. Those you can just ignore that. Right. So let me just create a new file to just explain this thing for you. So let me just call this workflow.txt. Right. So this is the file. So let me okay. Now, if you should look at this thing now, so this is how the workflow goes. This is how it goes. Just pay a lot of attention. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the code from our computer. So I'll do it like this. Your computer, then what? Then down, right? So then down. How can I use to represent it? Okay, let me just do it this way. So your computer, then from your computer, I'm going to move it to what? To GitHub. So they will then push to GitHub. So push to GitHub. Can you see it? So push to GitHub. So after pushing to GitHub, the next thing is we're going to connect our GitHub with Docker, right? So and there is something we are going to use to connect it, which is called GitHub Actions. So I'll be showing you how to use the GitHub action and what it is working for. So basically, the GitHub action is basically let us to connect our GitHub code to Docker. So then Docker will now compile those code all at once into one container image. Then it is the container image you're now going to use inside RunPod. So this is it. Just calm down and I will explain. The RunPod is like the engine that will run this our fee swap application, right? So it is the engine that will run this our fee swap application. So after pushing it to GitHub, then what? The next thing is what? GitHub action. Alright, so the next thing is GitHub action. So the GitHub action is what? To build Docker image, right? And the GitHub action also has another advantage. This is if you also anytime you push your code, it automatically updates the Docker, right? So it will push the latest Docker image so that the GitHub so that the RunPod can be able to recognize that there is something that has been updated here. That's the reason why. Adding being we did not connect it using this GitHub action here, we have to push our code to GitHub and still update it with Docker. But no, instead of that stress, we're going to use GitHub action. So from GitHub action, you can now say we want to push the image to Docker up. So I will then push the image to Docker up. Can you see? Push the image to Docker up. Then after pushing the image to Docker up, what next will now happen? The next thing that will happen is our RunPod. So we'll create a serverless endpoint on RunPod. So the RunPod what? Pull the latest Docker image. So it is with the help of this our GitHub action, then we will then push the image to Docker Hub. Then RunPod then pull this image, which is this our main AI application, right, to RunPod. Then RunPod can now run the latest code that is what's running. Then from that, our face function can run on the GPU. Then that our, let me say, the AI application runs on a GPU in the cloud. Because tell me, are you, if it is even working on your computer, like, are you going to tell the users to start using it on your computer? It sounds funny, right? So that is just the logic behind it. So let me break this down one more time. So the first thing we have is, can you see, the first thing we have is your computer, right? So your computer, which is your application. But for this tutorial, I'll be using face fusion. So in case you are confused about what face fusion is, so face fusion is basically an what's it called? It is this an AI application that can literally swap faces, right? So you can swap faces with face fusion, and can pretty good men do some modification and a lot of things with it, right? So, and you can also integrate this face fusion inside maybe WordPress or any of the application you feel like. But to even get this face fusion working on the cloud, you have to deploy it, right? So because you cannot tell the user to start using it on your computer alone. That sound awkward and not funny, right? Get to from your computer. So the first thing is you are using what, face fusion, right? So this is a face fusion. So the first thing you're going, the first stage is, sorry. So the first stage is what? Your computer. Then we're going to push to GitHub. After pushing to GitHub, we're going to connect it with GitHub Action. And for us to connect it using GitHub Action, there's something they call a secret. So that secret is like our GitHub token, our Docker account token and our Docker account username. That's what we're going to use to generate a secret. That's like the connection key. And I would show you how to do that also. Just follow along with me in this tutorial. So without no further ado, let us get it started. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is I will just have to, I think I will just have to remove this file here, so it will not affect me while pushing my code. So let me just delete it. Right, so nice. So we have everything available now. So what I'll simply just do is, no wasting of time, come to my terminal and choose command prompt. Can you see it here? Choose command prompt. So I'll choose command prompt. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I want us to create a repository. So it is that repository we're now going to be pushing this our face fusion code to, right? So let's go into it. So let me come into my browser and I will go to GitHub. So if you don't have GitHub accounts, please kindly create one GitHub account. So I will go to GitHub. So I'm on GitHub. Then I will add the repository. Yeah, so let me just do new repo. So what can we call our repo? So let me just call it something like should I call it like face, let me see, should I call it something like face fusion deploy? Let me just call it like face fusion deployment. It sounds somehow, but sorry, please. Face fusion deployment, right? So I pretty have some of them I deployed, so I don't want it to mix together. So let me just call it face fusion deployment. So let me don't just leave the settings and everything the way it is like this. Don't bother to do anything or maybe modify something. Just leave them the way it is. In order to avoid some, some errors and things like that. So yeah, so I pretty have my what's it called? So I have my I have my repository created already. So the next thing for us to do now is to push to the repo, right? But I think this thing is connected to an existing repo. So in order for me to check, I will do git remote -v, right? So you can see it is connected to an existing repo. So I will want to, remove it, right? So now I will also do git let me do git remote set -url origin. Then so URL origin, then I will go into my browser and copy this. Can you see it? So where's my browser, copy this, then go back, URL origin, then paste this. So I should paste this and click on enter. Can you see I'm on the repo now? Let me now verify it again. Git remote space -v, press enter. Okay, you can see it now. I'm on the repo. Now the next thing for us to do now is to create a branch, right? So I will create a, or let me just check with the branch where it is. Git branch, it's git branch. So it is on main. So now the next thing for me to do now is to push my code. So what I'll do basically this, I'll do git status. So I still load the file, I still have to commit. Alright, so I'll simply do so git status. So okay, git status. Then now the next thing for me to do now is to add my file. So then I'll do git add space dot. Can you see git add space dot, then commit, git commit space -m, then let me say update. Let me just call it, let me just call it push my code. Let me just call it push my code, right? So this commit push my code. Can you see it? Let me now, okay, so the next thing for me to do now is just to push it to GitHub, right? So that way, so the next thing for me to do now is to push my code. That will be git push origin main. So since I'm using the main folder, so git push origin main. You can see it. So our code has been pushed to GitHub. But let me refresh my browser. You can see we have all our files here. So the next thing for me to do now is to connect it with GitHub action. So right, to the GitHub action. So there's one special folder, one special file here I need to be concerned about, which is which comes to my GitHub, which comes to my workflow. You can see it here, Docker build. This is the Docker build, right? This is one we are using to build our Docker, right? You can see, if you should come here, well, this tutorial, it will really help you. Maybe you are using Face Fusion in particularly, because you can hardly find this type of video on YouTube showing you how to things on Face Fusion, deploying it, and a lot of that. So but this tutorial, if you should watch it to the end, you will understand and know how to do it yourself. So this is my username, this is my password. So these are the things I'm going to be using to create a secret. Username is my Docker Hub username. The password is literally my my Docker Hub password, and these tags is what will be generated after we have successfully connected it with the GitHub Actions. So, oh, I think this failed. Oh, I think I know why it failed. Because literally we are using the wrong, we're using the wrong, what is it called? This is actually my previous project I copied there in order for it to be fast and, so I just want to go straight to the point and show you how to do it. So what I will literally do now is I will come into my what's it called? Let me see my settings. Now we come into secret and variables and come into actions. Right, so actually it's failed because it is not connected. So I will create a new repository secret. So click on new repository secrets. Now you enter your Docker hub, the name, right? So I'm creating two secrets, so which is the Docker underscore username, right? So my username here. My username on my Docker hub is penpixel. I'll show my Docker hub account too. Penpixel. So which is the Docker hub underscore username. You can see it here. I'll add the secrets. Can you see it? So I've created one secret. Have you seen it here? Now I'll create another one, another secret, which is for password. Right? So what did I use here? I will use Docker underscore password. Docker underscore password. This is where it will contain my Docker hub password secret. So I will show you how to do it. How to generate a new, a new Docker hub token. This is like the Docker hub token, right? So all you need to do now is go to your Docker hub account. So look for, I think it's hub.docker.com. Yes, hub.docker.com. So once you go there, you would create an account. So after creating an account, what you do next is just to create a, what's it called? I already have an account, so I'll just sign in. So what you just need to do there is to create a token, right? Sign in. So shit, these are all the don't mind me please. These are all the tags I've created, right? So these are the tags here, right? So what I'll basically do is for a first time user, right? So I've pretty been using this thing well. So what I'll do is come to this account here, click on your profile icon. So click on account settings. So click on account settings. Click on your account settings and go to personal access token. Can you see it say personal access token? So head to personal access token. It's still loading. You can see it here, generate a new token, but no need for it to generate any token. I mean, generate any token, but I already have my token, right? So I already have my token. Mind me, please. I already have my token. So let me get my token and place it there. Yeah, so this is my token. So I've got my token, then I'll place my token and click add secrets. So as soon as I add secrets, and I went back to Docker hub so to create a repository. So this is it. I have added my token, right? So don't put your token inside this place, no, inside your code, no, right? We are putting the token with Docker, with GitHub secrets, right? To keep it. Yeah, you don't expose token like that. You understand? So the next thing for me to do is to create a repository. So I went to, let me see, this is my my interface. So I went to the repository. create new repository. So I'll call my repository the same name I give this one, which is face fusion deployment. So our name is face fusion deployment. Right, so leave it the way it is. Leave it the way it is. Okay, I've removed the space. So face fusion. Okay, I see. So a face fusion deployment, no need to add short description if you wish, but make it public. Please don't make it private. So what you do is just to what create. So as soon as you create, you should see a tag given. You should come to tags. Okay, you have not seen your tag yet. So what I'll basically do is I will try to what is it called? I will try to this is what I'm going to use, but the tag is going to show, but I'll try to repush my code, right? Because if I should come to the action, this my build and docker, this my docker image for connecting it is having error. So let me just click on it and see. Well, I'll fix that now. Okay, I see. So what does it now is just to repush the code, right? So what does it now just what to repush the code. So this my tag here, I would just simply come to my docker and copy my tag. Can you see it? Copy it, then come here and space, yes, then put colon latest. So this is just very easy once you put it there. So now all I'll just simply do is to repush my code to GitHub. So I'll do git add space. Can you see it? So git add space, and I'll do git commit -m, then let me see updated docker build. So let me consider this. So you see it's a updated docker build file. Then let me just do git push origin main. Yeah, so very let's see. Okay, just hold on. So it should, I'm really concerned with this, right? So let me just configure. This is my main docker, so let's see. At least this workflow should not fail, because I've tried to put the repo. Let me refresh it. Should have seen it by now. Right, so I mean that has been fixed already. So I think that's as a result of this my this issue I'm having with this. I think there was a mistake. You see, you even have to cross check it very well, very well. So in my Docker secrets, I have Docker hub underscore username, Docker hub underscore username there. But yeah, it was Docker underscore username. So that was what is causing the conflicts. But it has been fixed. So make sure that this username this username you have here and this docker underscore password is the same thing used to create your secrets. So I should come to my docker repository I created. You can see that's created the tag for me. So this is an image. This is what they call the container image. So then it is this container image I'm now going to use to take to RunPod. And RunPod, okay, RunPod, take this my container image. I want you to run this AI application. So that's the final step we're going to take. So the next thing I'm going to do is what to add to what RunPod. So I'll simply add to RunPod. Just search RunPod. Let me take it slowly. So let me take it slowly. So search for RunPod AI. So you see with your eye, you can see it is very good. I highly recommend RunPod, right? So this is not a paid partnership video. I just, something I have used multiple times, and I've tested it out and see how wonderful it is, right? So you can see the AI developer cloud, right? You can see. So what you do is you can sign up. If you are just starting but already have an account, I will sign in, and have it at the back of your mind that everything you're going to be using on this RunPod is paid, right? It is not free, right? So the reason is, how does it feel giving someone your computer to for them to run an application on it, like an AI application that will consume energy, time, electricity. So they're not collecting any money from you, maybe money for hosting the file or running your computer. No, they're only collecting money for electricity, right? So the amount of time it's used to generate, to run your AI model. So that's the amount of charges they will charge from you. So I'll show you now how to create a serverless endpoint, because there's something they call a pod, which I'm going to be showing you. It's something they call a pod and a serverless endpoint. So as you can see, I have $4.33. The minimum you can load is $10, and I've been using it for quite a while now, right? So I have paid, and so it is very, very easy. So you can see it here, serverless. So serverless is very recommended. So the difference between the serverless and the pod is the serverless, you will only pay for what you use, right? So if your AI model is meant to run for, it is meant to run for how many, okay, let me say it is meant to run for, let me say 10 seconds, right? So it's run for 10 seconds, it send the request for 10 seconds, and it's run, so it will only charge you for that 10 seconds. But for this pod here, they will charge you immediately you create pods. It's like a serverless endpoint. Immediately you create it, they will charge you as far the GPU is always on. Because you can off it, but every time your GPU will always be active every time, right? So, and sometimes even though you don't use it, it will still be counting the money you get. So, and we don't want that case. We want something that I will use what I pay for. So that is why this serverless is what is recommended. So I'll click on new endpoint, create an endpoint, and select deploy from Docker image, right? So deploy from Docker image. Now this our container image, which is this. Oh, do stress yourself, just come here, right? Just come here, copy the tags, and head back to RunPod. You can see it here, container image. This is where you put it. This is like what they call URL, right? So this is like let me call it the URL of our application. That means the address. This is where my application is. This is where you should get the application you want to run. This is where you should get this from. So my container image, don't worry about this warning. I just want to know that it is not recommended to use the latest tag for production deployments, but I'm using it so that it can get the latest request, right? So I will click on my container. From container, this increases from 5 to 40 gig. It's increases from 5 to 40 gig, right? So don't touch all these things, right? Just follow me, please. So once you have done that, leave it at quench. Don't put load balancing. So click on next. Now let us give our endpoint a name. Let us do for one for name to give it. let me call it let's call it face fusion, right? So let me call this face fusion deployment. It's not quite funny. So face fusion deployment. So now one of the the GPU I'm using is this one. They charge $1.10 if you should run their GPU for an hour, right? So you can choose the lower one, but at times it feels right. So this one is one that can work, pretty good. I recommend this. Right? But if you feel like it cannot run what you have, well, you can increase it depending on I don't know how much your budget is, or but I recommend this. This is perfectly okay. So give your endpoint a name, select a GPU, a max worker should be, increase it to 7. The more worker you have, because if one worker is less busy and is not available, there's something they call worker. Let me explain. The worker is as if the worker is the GPU that will run your request. Which, let me say, user send a request and no, they want to generate maybe let me say you created a text, a blog post writer AI, and a user send a request that they want to generate some blog posts, and all those things is happening on the front end. But at the back end, you know, it can fail if there is just one worker attending to that user request. It can fail. That's your next part, right? It can fail. So the reason why I'm not creating 7 is if one fail, another one should pick it up. If one fail, another one should pick it up. You get, so that's because if one fail, at times you can also charge money of that AI that failed. Like, I mean, at times, right? You get to you need to leave it at 7 to make it okay. If one maybe wasn't able to pick up one was able to pick up the at least one of the 7 can do something, right? So active worker, don't increase it to 1. If you increase it to 1, it will be doing something similar to this, but that means at least a worker will be active 24 hours. That's what I mean about active worker. So I'll keep it at 0 GPU count, keep it as 1 ID count, and click on enable flash boot, right? So enable flash boot. So leave everything where it is like this. Then you can see it here. I'm using the RTX 490 GPU, RTX 490. Then click on deploy. Or let's change it to 6. I think they are complaining right now. So let me change it to 6. Max worker across all endpoints must not exceed the worker quota. Reduce the max worker and okay, or lower the max worker count. Okay, let me just keep it at 4. What the heck? Let me just Hmm. You know what? Let me reduce it to 2. Okay, max worker count must be at 0, so GPU count. This can't be at 0, right? Don't worry, we'll try to edit it later and see what will happen. So our endpoint is creating. You can see that. So you can see 0 worker running, right? It's still ideal. So what I will just simply do is click on edit and increase the max worker. Okay, my other endpoint are using some max worker, right? So, I mean, so all I'll just basically do now is go back to this one and reduce the max worker. I have 3 and I have 7 here. Okay, it must not exceed 10. 7 plus 3, that's 10. So, let me reduce this. I now understand. So, let me reduce this to 0. Right, let me reduce this to 0 and increase this back to 7. Yeah, this should work now. Yes. So face fusion deployment. So let me click on the endpoints. I hope you understood what happened there. I've created some. I hope you understand what happened there. I've created some endpoints earlier. So they were like telling me that the total worker I can have in all my endpoints is 10. And I already have 3 here and I have 7 here. Right. So I just need to reduce that 7 to 0 so I can use the latest one. So the latest one, right? So you can see initializing here. See, please, if you did not see ready, don't run anything, right? So you can see now, you see ready. That's very, very good. So I'll come to request, and from here you can now start making your request. Let me see, for example, like you can now start making your request, right? For me now, for me to make a request, this is what I would do. All right, so for me to make a request, this is what I'm going to do. I'm using face fusion, right? So I have this my request JSON format request I want to make. So based on how my code was written, so this is my request. So this is the input, my source. No, I'm using face fusion. No, face fusion is basically an AI Python code based project that basically swap face, right? So this is my source face, which is the face of the person I'm placing on the other person's face, and this is my target face, which is the template face, the main face, right? So I'll try a swap. So this is the input, the request. So anything you want to try, but this is just for testing, right? So the still you can implement it, connect this this whole thing to your main project, like it should output on the main browser, right? So there's a way you can still do that one, right? But this is just how to deploy it and see that, okay, yes, this is on the cloud and this is what's working. So this is my request, and I'll just click on run. You can see it. If you should scroll down, is in quench. You can see it. Delay time 3.67 seconds. So just calm down and watch. You can see in processing. No wasting of time. 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 So it's still in progress. So it will show completed, or it can show failed. That means there's something wrong with your code. It is not able to run it successfully, but it's still in progress, as you can see. Well, okay, you can see completed. That's nice. So well, it is giving me this in a JSON, in a in this format, right? So what I'll basically do is, this is to prove that yes, this thing completed, right? So this is the image file of this is the image. This is the image address. Let me put it like that, image address, but it is in what's it called? It is in this base 44 encoded format, right? So I'll just have to convert this back into image. But like this, you can see that our application has successfully been deployed, from the process of where we started from, from our computer, then pushing it to GitHub. From pushing it to GitHub, we created a secret. So the secret is the one connecting our what's it called, our code with Docker. So then from the Docker, we now what it is to create a serverless endpoint. with the help of the container image, that is with the help of the address of our application. So that is just how it is. So if you have any other question about anything, maybe or something, just please don't hesitate to drop your comments in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.